This one writing secret could help you write twice as fast, which means you're going to finish your book in half the time. It's something you can definitely do. In fact, some of my favorite authors, Kurt Vonnegut and Christopher Moore, both do this, and I do it too. There is one catch to it though. You can't use it on your very first story. Interested in what it might be? I'll explain it to you. Hi, my name's Cameron. I'm an author here on YouTube, and I write books as quickly and efficiently as possible. And I use this channel to explain those techniques and help you finish your projects as well. So what's interesting about this technique that Christopher Moore and Kurt Vonnegut both use? It's something that is more common than you might think. It's reusing characters and settings that you already have before. This doesn't mean that every book you write has to be a part of a series, right? It doesn't have to be a continuation of the same story, but the same characters and settings can be used over and over and over. So if you've never read Christopher Moore, some of his earlier books all happen in this same town called Pine Cove, which is basically a small town on the coast in the Pacific Northwest. Now, why that's interesting is you have all of these same characters, right? Just like any small town, if you've ever lived in a small town, you know this. There's this cast of characters that exist. The same guy works the gas station. The same girl works the fast food drive-thru. And those characters that you get familiar in seeing are the characters of the books. Now, there's multiple adventures that happen in Pine Cove, and none of them are dependent on the others. Book 2 just pretends like book 1 never existed, and book 3 pretends that book 2 and 1 never existed. But all of these stories happen in the same setting with the same characters. Approaching a book like this, one, makes it easier for you because you have to come up with less characters and less world building, but two, it does something very interesting for your readers, and I'll talk about that in a minute. If you've ever written a book, you know that creating characters and fleshing out the settings takes a lot of time and planning. That is, unless you pants the whole thing like Stephen King. I have a video about that right here. Creating these characters that feel real and deep and connect with your readers, and these settings that are beautiful and lush and filled out. That takes a lot of effort. So if you've already done that before, why not just continue to use that same thing that you worked so hard on? Now, this technique is not as uncommon as you might think. In fact, you see it all the time here on YouTube. You probably have a favorite creator here on YouTube, somebody who you can recognize and in a place that you recognize. Now, sure, that creator may be a real person, but there's a persona, a character associated with that, right? They're presenting themselves to you in a specific way, whether that's through how they talk to the camera or how they edit. The setting is also often deliberate. They're in the same studio or the same office every time, or occasionally they venture out, but they return to the same spots. Now, obviously, I'm saying this is the same character in the same setting, but they're not a series, right? You don't always have to watch every single video this person's created to understand the newest one. Now apply that same logic to the stories you're telling in your books. The person who's reading this current book can read just this book and get a full story arc with well-developed characters and settings. But if they also read one of your other books that use the same characters and the same setting, they get a deeper understanding of everybody and everything in the book. And that's the exciting parts for your readers. You basically pack the book with these Easter eggs because you're describing the same town, but you're describing it in two different ways. They now have a more full picture of the town. Or you offhandedly mention a character who's just an auxiliary person in this story, but in your other book, they were the main character. So when you describe how that character looks, they immediately know, oh my gosh, that was Seth from before. You're creating a familiarity with the people and the places within this world that your reader's really going to enjoy when they read your next book. So on top of it being fun for your reader to find all these Easter eggs throughout the book, you only have to develop the people and places one time. And then you're describing something that already exists in this world, which is a lot easier to do than thinking up brand new things, pulling them out of your imagination and putting them on the page. So try it out if you haven't yet. It's going to make you write faster because you're basically cutting out a huge part of the process. Have you tried it already? Let me know what your experience was like down in the comments. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you want some more tips and tricks on how you could write your story and actually get it done, go to this video here. Or if you want to know more about my books and have me read one to you completely, beginning to end, for free here on YouTube, go to this playlist here.